Thanks for joining us today at Unstuck Your Business podcast.
You went into business with a passion to explore your skills and talents and show the world what you can do to contribute into our society and into our economic ecosystem. But a couple of years into the business, and your drive and motivation has dwindled, and now you feel stuck.
When you find yourself at this crossroad of thoughts and emotions, how do you deal with it? In this podcast, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship to help you unstuck your business. We are your hosts, Inez Nazario-Vega from Business Essentials Virtual Assistant.
And Edith Duran from Reason Marketing.
Welcome back to Unstuck Your Business. Today, we are discussing a topic that doesn't get enough attention among business owners: the importance of growing your personal balance sheet alongside your business balance sheet. As entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time tracking revenue, expenses, and profit. We work hard to build successful businesses. But business success doesn't automatically translate into personal wealth or financial security. And that's why our conversation is titled Own Your Numbers. Business success isn't enough.
And joining us today is our favorite returning guest, Nancy Benet, our favorite accountant and money mindset lady. She's a founder of Fix It Accounting and Success Your Way. As a CPA, business advisor, and entrepreneur, Nancy has helped countless business owners gain clarity around their finances and make smarter decisions for both their businesses and their futures. What I appreciate about Nancy's approach is that she understands success isn't just about growing a business. It's about building a life that supports your goals, values, and long-term vision. Nancy, welcome back to Unstuck Your Business. We're so happy to have you here today. Just for our audience that may not be familiar with you, would you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your businesses?
Sure. I woke up one day when I was 45 years old with four small children, no money, no job, and $650,000 in debt, and really had to dig my way out of that from a mindset point of view as well as from a financial point of view. And today, we're 16 plus years into that, and I own a thriving CPA firm and a bunch of real estate, and also a firm called Success Your Way, where we do online classes for entrepreneurial women.
That's incredible. And I'm so happy you're here. And the topic that we're talking about today, you're like the perfect person to talk about it, because we want to express the importance of a personal balance sheet alongside your business balance sheet. So how would you define a personal balance sheet?
Well, I have two definitions of a personal balance sheet. Of course, I don't know if you know this, but balance sheet is made up of assets, which is what you own, liabilities, which is what you owe, and the difference between that is your equity section of your balance sheet. And you want your equity to be positive, right? Your assets to be more than your liabilities. And so you can do that from a financial point of view, which means, what do you own? What are your assets? Your house, any other real estate that you have, your vehicle, all these things that you might own at minus what you owe on those things equals your equity. But a balance sheet is also about you as an individual and has nothing to do with your assets or your physical things. It has to do with what you know, your education, all the things, your awareness, expanding yourself every day. I think that education is one of the greatest things as an entrepreneur that you can do for yourself. I learn something new every day. I'm 60 years old. I still find it really important to educate myself and learn something and expand my own personal awareness and perspective every single day. That is my asset. If every other thing disappeared in the world, if all the businesses, all the real estate, every physical thing disappeared, I could rebuild because I have a personal assets like that belong to me that nobody can ever take away from me. And I find that just incredibly valuable because that is what helps me build my balance sheet with assets, with physical things. That's
Mhm.
what allows me to make enough money to do those things. As far as the liability section in your personal balance sheet with your education, the liabilities would be the problems that you have, the mindset, the lack mindset, or things that are really holding you back in your life emotionally.
Mhm.
And we want to dig those up and find out and minimize them. So if we can dig them up, have awareness of them, we can then solve those problems that are holding us back. So those are your liabilities. And the difference between your assets and your liabilities in your emotional life would be your equity. And I think building that is really the first thing that you can do toward having actual assets, physical assets on your personal balance sheet.
Wow. And I have to say this, Nancy. I never have heard it this way. And it's so
Refreshing.
impactful. It
Yes.
is impactful. I mean, I'm just taking notes like crazy here. Assets is our knowledge, and you are absolutely right. I cannot tell you how many times in my life I had to reinvent myself,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
whether it had been because I was laid off from a job, whether it be that I just walked out of a job because it wasn't for me, whether it had been because of personal family losses and you had to rearrange your life entirely. And if it wasn't for that knowledge and it wasn't for that education and also the resilient mindset, I would have not built the equity.
Mhm.
And, I'm not saying that it's a perfect balance sheet for me right now, but it is something that is refreshing to hear it that way.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, 100%. And the other thing I'd like to add to that is it also makes me um, think of our physical health as such an asset, and making it a priority for ourselves, because in today's like digital world, so many of us have to do our job sitting at a desk or standing for a long time, and movement is something that you have to consciously schedule into your day anymore. And but when you think about your personal balance sheet and the assets, your body, your health is got to be up there as well, and I think
That's
a
a
lot of
really
people miss it.
great That's a really great point, Edith. I agree
Mhm.
completely because you cannot enjoy any physical assets if you don't have your health,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
And that same goes for relationships. We have to
Mhm.
nurture relationships. And as adults, we don't necessarily do that so well, especially like friendships among women. Finding our tribe and our girlfriends, I think, can be so
Yes.
important. We have to schedule that time in. We have to really look at those things because otherwise we're too busy. We're busy with
Mm-hmm.
our kids and we're busy with our businesses and our spouses. And we forget to nurture our hearts.
Hmm.
We
Yes, yes.
do. Uh, One thing that I also love about what you just said is the relationships, because, we know what a business balance sheet means, and the success that you get from business is in that balance sheet. It's in the numbers that you see. But when you're talking about the other side of personal balance sheet, how would you say someone can determine success? It's not so black and white.
I think it has to do with quality of life. Like,
Mm.
what are you in alignment with your personal goals or your personal mission in life? Are you doing the things that bring you joy, that bring you satisfaction, that make you feel like you matter and you have a reason to get up in the morning? What does that look like? Are you stressed to the max, running on fumes all the time? Or do you get enough sleep and you have enough time for yourself every day? These are really important questions because I think chasing business success, we tend to get all wrapped up in the business end of things and forget about everything else.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think we don't give that enough attention.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give that enough attention. And how it's connected with revenue generating.
Mm-hmm.
We're always, when we talk about finances, personal balance sheet, finance, accounting, we're always focus on the end result, which is money in the bank or income coming into the business. Yet we fail to see what is the root cause for that to happen in one way or another,
Hmm.
which is what we need to do before then. The mindset, the knowledge, the education, and making the right decisions because of your knowledge and education. And I think that we so many times we fail to see that correlation between success and what happens before.
Mm-hmm.
Would you
I think
say?
that's a cultural thing, though, because we are programmed to work, 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 work.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not programmed to sit back and look at who we are, what we want, and does our business align with that?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We're just like running on the hamster wheel and never stopping to think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
that's a societal thing because that's what we're taught. That's what is spoken to us from marketing messages. And, here, you need more money to buy this, and you need this, and you need this. You should be doing that. But if that doesn't align with you personally, can we throw that out
Mm-hmm.
and regroup a little bit?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have
You know,
oh, sorry,
go ahead.
Inez. You sure? I hate to interrupt you, but I have a question. In your personal experience, Nancy, in working with so many entrepreneurs, both in Fix It Accounting and in Success Your Way, are there noticeable patterns that you see between those that have this awareness of building their personal balance sheet with the more intrinsic assets versus those that may not be as aware? Do you see like any kind of pattern where they may be more successful or they may just be more open to new opportunities? Like, do you notice a difference?
I do notice a difference. What I see clearly is that um, it's so easy to make money in the business and then pull it all out of the business and spend it on personal items that don't move you forward.
Mm,
This happens all the time. I see it constantly. And it really is almost like raping your business. It's taking money out that would help you grow because you don't understand maybe the value of your business. I was having a conversation with a client, I don't know, a year or so ago, and I was trying to help him understand. He's like, I need to save for retirement. I'm like, yes, you do. But you need to understand the value of your business and stop taking all the money out of it every month because they were just taking, 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 taking. And the business didn't really have enough money to operate
mm,
properly. And I didn't see them taking it to build assets on the personal side. I saw them taking it to spend to have bigger, more stuff
right.
that doesn't necessarily add to your personal balance sheet. Maybe it did. Maybe it's, houses and things like that. But are those houses making you money? Is a
Mm-hmm.
question. I want to buy cash flowing assets, not assets that consume my cash. But I think that's a big mistake is buying assets that consume your cash. So if you go and get $1 million house and you've got a giant mortgage and you've got a lot of upkeep and you've got big property taxes and insurance and all those things, that is sucking the life out of your pocketbook,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that
I'm sorry. I would add to that is that making you happy? And I'm talking from personal experience. I've had the big house and I've had the small apartment. And I tell you what, I am as happy as it can be, a dog with two tails, when I'm in my smaller space than in the bigger space.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I'm building my assets because I'm not spending as much in a big house that I would
Mm-hmm.
in a small apartment. And people that know me personally, they may have this question mark. It's like, well, if she can't afford a house, why is she living in an apartment? It's a matter of choice, of course, but I also see it from a financial standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
How
because that house is not, I mean, it can be considered an asset and hopefully it will increase in value over time. But if it's sucking your cash out, you can't invest that cash in something else that would contribute to your cash flow. And
Mm-hmm.
to
exactly.
me, passive income is a really important item on my personal side. I want to create income that comes no matter if I'm working or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I could use my son as an example with that because we were talking about him before we started, and he was involved in a tragic accident 4 weeks ago where a group of cyclists were hit by a truck. And he's not been able to work since then. And thankfully, he has enough passive income that he was able to withstand that. And I
Mm.
think most people don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really something important to look at.
Hi, I'm Edith, owner of Riza Marketing, a boutique marketing agency in Orlando, Florida, where we have a small but mighty team dedicated to helping service businesses dominate in the Central Florida market. We begin by helping you discover your own secret sauce. You know, that one special something only you offer and your ideal clients love you for it. When you take pride in the service you offer and the experience you provide, but feel your marketing message isn't resonating with the right audience, we can help. When you're at a loss for creating advertising that evokes emotion and prompts action, we can help. Or if releasing viewer-worthy content with consistency is an ongoing challenge, we can help. Riza Marketing helps you define your unique flair and deliver creative content on a dependable schedule. Online marketing is easy when you have a team of pros by your side. If you're ready to make marketing fun again, then visit our website, rizamarketing.com. That's RIZA marketing.com, and schedule your free discovery call today.
I'm going to shift this conversation a little bit because we talk a lot about passive income. Um, what would you say is one of the biggest challenges that people have in acquiring passive income? Because I see that there's so many opportunities, but yet not very many people take advantage of it.
That's a great question. And the reason is because you have to be prepared when opportunity presents itself. And prepared would be having enough cash, enough education to be able to take advantage of it, enough awareness about it to know that, hey, this could be a good opportunity for me. So all of those things have to converge and be in place when the opportunity comes. But most of us aren't prepared. We're just not
Yes.
prepared. So one of my biggest things for people is live below your means so that you can save your money because cash is king when it comes to opportunity, especially for creating passive income.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, absolutely. I will agree with that. Sorry to have shifted the the topic, but when we talk about passive income, I hear so many people, passive income, multiple sources of income, and yet you see very, very few people take advantage or understand the value there is in passive income and having multiple sources of
But I see the relationship between that self-confidence to live below
income.
your means. So many of us want to spend the money on well-known brands, the nice car, the new this, the latest that, because they don't want to feel singled out by not having it. But if you work on your mindset, like you talk about so much, if you work on your mindset, your confidence is there to say, I don't care what other people say, and they can say or they cannot say. It doesn't impact my life one way or the other. What impacts my life is being ready for that next opportunity. So, but in your line of work, again with the CPA firm and Success Your Way, do you find yourself coaching people to shift this way in order to have that monetary success?
Absolutely. All the time. I think it's one of the most important things to have the monetary success because
Mm-hmm.
you're right. If you're out spending all your money buying something to impress other people, you're not going to be able to have any of the opportunities that come your way because you're not
Mm-hmm.
prepared for them. And also you're not confident enough to take them, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because to me, confidence is one of the most beautiful attributes. So I feel like somebody that has self-confidence and projects that and really lives into that is can be so beautiful, no matter what they look like on the outside. That is beautiful. And I think people really respond to it, and more opportunities come when they have that.
Mhm.
It's just really such a bonus for someone when they can nurture that and bring that into their lives.
It's interesting because for those who are listening, they know that I have relocated to Puerto Rico not too long ago. Well, it's going to be a year in a couple of weeks. And when I did my relocation, I had this mental shift and this reflecting on what I wanted my life to look like hereafter. And last couple of days, I was even laughing to myself because I went from a Lexus to a Toyota Corolla, and I am as happy as I can be. Less insurance. Hey, with the price of gas, I'm just happy. And I think that it's so hard with this society being so bombarded, and I include myself in that we get caught up with trying to beat the Jones, as
Hmm.
they say.
Yeah.
We want, like I said, I had the big house, I had the nice car, I had all these things, and yet I was not aware that I was robbing myself from one precious thing, which was balance.
Mm-hmm.
Balance. And like I said, from I went from literally a Lexus to a Toyota Corolla, and I was like laughing at myself. It's like I am so happy just driving. I am so happy in my little Corolla.
That's so great. I'm glad you did that because I don't see too many people that will downsize that way. Kudos to you. Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Yes, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I loved my Lexus, and who knows? Maybe I will have one later on. I'm just trying to rebuild myself here in Puerto Rico, but it's not a priority like it used to be, or it's not forefront in my mind. Like, oh, I have to have this. I
Hmm.
rather just work on other assets besides a nice car and a big house.
I wonder about that pull, Inez, of I have to have that. Like how does that feel and how did you overcome that?
How to overcome the need to have bigger and better?
The need to have the Lexus versus the Corolla. Like there was a pull. Oh, I want that. I really have to have that.
Well, I tell you what, I'm being very transparent. Ever since I was like in my mid 30s, I always said before I turn 50, I want a Lexus with all bells and whistles.
Mm.
It was a thing. It was like a vision that I always had in my mind. But attached to that, it is because you want that status to meet
Hmm.
society. You want that, like, I feel better than, because you want to, I don't know, stand out, for lack of a better term.
Mm.
So I think for me, it was easy. I achieved it. I actually bought that Lexus when I was 58 years old. I mean, 48 years old. So I met that goal of, okay, I'm going to buy myself a Lexus with all bells and whistles before 50. And yet 10 years has gone by. I'm 60 years now. And it's like, okay, been there, done that. Let's go to the next thing. And now my priorities have shifted quite a bit.
Mm.
Good for you.
And if I could shift just slightly from the conversation, I'm curious, Nancy, if we were to create an activity of a personal balance sheet where you have, your liabilities and assets on one side and then your liabilities and assets on the other, like how could someone do this activity with both types of personal balance sheets in mind, would you say?
Oh, I love to write things down. I'm a big into journaling. And if you can journal on this would be really super great because if you can identify what
Hmm.
are your personal physical assets and physical liabilities minus assets minus your liabilities is equal to your equity, find out what that is. But then also go to the other side of it and write this down too. What are your emotional assets? What are your
Mm,
strong points? What do you know that other people don't know? What is valuable that you have that you can offer to somebody else? Because a
mm,
lot of times we don't even know what that is. things come really easily to us, we discount. We don't
Yes.
understand that not everybody else has that. So if you
That
can
is true.
identify those things would be
Mm-hmm.
incredible. And then expand your awareness to like, what are my problems that I'm dealing with that keep recurring? One of
Mm-hmm.
mine is I'm a people pleaser. And I will sweep things under the rug just so everybody's feeling good. And then
Mm,
it comes back later, you got to clean up your messes and things don't always go so well when you do that. And I know this and I work on it actively all the time. And so if we can identify those things in our emotional lives that are holding us back and make a plan to deal with them, whether it's getting a life coach or seeing a therapist or going to hypnotherapy, I do all of those things. And I
mhm.
think it's really helpful because when we can start being aware of and solving those problems and increasing our assets on the emotional side, it really will improve the physical balance sheet side.
That's so insightful, and the reason I say that is because I see the value of what you just said that you do. Taking personal inventory on a regular basis is not something that we are accustomed to do,
Mm-hmm.
or that we are taught to do, for that matter. I mean, it's just not it's not in the school curriculum to take personal inventory every so often, and I think more and more people are getting more awareness about doing it. But then again, we fall back into this, like, we got to be doing all the time, that we don't set aside that 10, 15 minutes to make that personal assessment, personal inventory of, like you said, you're a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know it, but when you write it down and you process it, it's different than just knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people just say, oh, that's the way I am, and
Hmm.
don't make any effort to change it. But I
Mm-hmm.
will tell you that you have the capacity to change. You just have to want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree. And nowadays, there's so many, like, even apps out there that even kind of help you through the process of journaling and doing, reflecting on who you are, and things that are working and not working for you, and how to change that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that there are those resources out there because if we don't stop running the hamster wheel all the time and really reflect on who we are, what we want, and digging down a little deeper into ourselves to find out like what's important to us,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll never really be able to go any further than you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a barrier, it's a stop, and it won't let
Mhm.
you grow beyond that. From
Yes.
a money point of view, it won't, you'll get stuck.
Yes, yes. Well, I am so glad that we're having this conversation. The title of it is the personal balance sheet, knowing your numbers. And I'm sure the audience is probably expecting us to talk a lot about the accounting side of business, the
Mm-hmm.
nitty-gritty that I personally don't like. I'm glad there's accountants and CPAs to take care of that for us. But I can see how talking about it from the angle that you just presented to us, it makes a world of a difference in our finances.
Mm-hmm.
So appreciate it. You were gonna say something?
Uh, I would just wondered if Nancy has any like final tips for our audience because we've talked about the importance of your personal assets. And I feel like much of our audience, they are women, and a lot of women also tend to be the people pleasers. So, it's hard not to fall into that trap of I need, the nice shoes, the to dress presentable at events in front of people, but to put their own personal balance, especially, and I guess I'm talking especially to women because um at the very beginning of this podcast, you introduce yourself with the story of being 45 years old in a lot of debt, single parent, and um And women can find themselves for whatever reason on their own, and they didn't put aside the time to really build on this personal asset sheet. So what advice would you give our audience, especially women, about what our discussion today?
Well, the biggest thing is to live below your means, but also like if you're finding yourself alone or in any particular stage of life, you can use that as a catalyst into what you want. Like people think negative things happen to them, like I had this bad thing happen to me, but really it was a good thing. And so my viewpoint on life right now is everything happens for me instead of to me. Stop being a victim. Start using whatever negativity you have in your life as a catalyst for change, as a reason to go forward in life, as a reason to change something, because we're not going to change until we get uncomfortable. And if you want to change something, man, go for it. Do it because you can. You have much more power in your life than you think.
I love that we're starting the day with this conversation. I feel like unstoppable.
Yeah, same here. Same here. There are so many nuggets that I took out of our conversation. I mean, I have a full page and a half full of notes of things that took away from this conversation. And I'm sure the audience that is listening to us is probably doing the same because you had a lot to offer, Nancy. I really appreciate everything you have shared with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's been great fun.
And how could our audience connect with you?
Fixitaccounting.com. That's FIXIT accounting.com. On the socials, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then successyourway.com. And of course, Facebook and Instagram there.
That's great. Well, Nancy, it has been such an just inspiring discussion. It's definitely put me more aware of my own personal assets, and honestly, I feel a bit of gratitude now that I'm thinking of it that way. So I sincerely appreciate this conversation today.
Yes, and before we leave, we just want to say that, Unstuck Your Business, we have the Unstuck Your Business framework. And Nancy is part of our playlist. So she's part of this series that we're putting together for our audience to take advantage of. And so we want to invite our audience to also take advantage of the Unstuck Your Business framework method to help you really, really get unstuck.
Yes, I will add the link to that in the show notes, but you can also find it at unstuckyourbusinesspodcast.com/framework and get your free download. And as Inez explained, this came from what we learned from 100 conversations, where Nancy was one of them that really inspired the framework that we put together. So it's quite a gem. I encourage our audience to get it.
And it's free.
And it's free.
Well, thank you, Nancy.
Yes, thank you
Edith
again,
and
Nancy.
Inez.
If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you. Let us know what you think about today's topic by leaving us a comment and a review of our podcast.
And if you found some value on the information shared in this podcast, please subscribe and share. And you can find us on our Facebook page, Unstuck Your Business, and join the conversation and engage with other entrepreneurs as together we help each other unstuck our business. Until next time.
Until next time.